I want to talk about something that seems to be a struggle for many women, but I haven't really seen discussed, and that's dog mom guilt after having a baby. It hit me really hard. Let's go back to the start. When I found out that I was pregnant with my first child, I was immediately so excited to meet her. I wanted to start a family and I wanted to become a mom, but I was surprised when another feeling surfaced: guilt. As excited as I was to start a family, I also started to worry how it would affect another relationship that had been one of the most important to me for the last decade. The relationship with my dog Nira. Nira is 10 years old and she's been my best friend and rock through so many life changes. I wasn't in a good place in my life when I got Nira, and this dog became my loyal, loving, fun companion through some really hard times. Honestly, she was everything to me. She even came to my wedding. I loved Nira so much that while I was pregnant, I even broke down crying and I told my husband that I was worried that I wouldn't be able to love my baby as much as I loved my dog. It didn't feel possible. Fast forward to Emma being born, and wow, was I wrong. As soon as I met her, I knew that she was now the center of my world. But that led to a different problem. Where did that leave my relationship with my dog? If Emma was now my biggest love, how would that demotion feel for Nira? Cue some extreme dog mom guilt. Postpartum is a wild time with sleep deprivation, hormones, and more. Everyone reacts differently to it, but one thing that seems to be universal is that everything just feels larger. Joy feels bigger. Stress feels bigger. Guilt definitely feels bigger. Since something had shifted, I questioned whether I even still loved my dog, and that made me feel like a terrible person. How could my feelings towards her just change in an instant? And if they did, what did that say about me? I hid those thoughts inside for a while because I felt a lot of shame about them. Eventually, I decided to talk about them publicly. I made a social media post about how I was feeling, and I was shocked to see how many women had felt similar shame. Within a day of posting about it, I had over 50 women share stories that resembled mine. Realizing that I wasn't alone with my struggles did feel validating, but it also got me wondering, why hadn't I heard anyone talk about this before? Ultimately, I think as women and moms, we often worry that we're not doing enough and we don't want to be judged for that perceived inadequacy, so we hide the feelings. They say that shame thrives in the dark and it runs from the light, so I'm hoping that sharing my personal story and my struggles helps other women that might be going through something similar. In this video, I want to share a few of the comments on that social media post that really resonated with me and how I implemented those tips to start feeling better. First, I want to share a comment that really struck me with how much I related to it when I wished that I didn't. It's no small thing. I had my first child when my dog was 7 years old. She was the perfect dog and we were attached at the hip, but within a couple of weeks it became clear that my baby was my baby and the dog was now no longer my baby. She just became my dog. It's a rough transition accompanied with so much guilt. All the dogs we've had since have been family dogs, but of course the human children do come first. Subsequent dogs, I never felt that same guilt like I did with the dog that I had when I was childless and then gave birth. When I read my dog was no longer my baby, she was just my dog, it was a gut punch because it summed up how I was feeling and it made me feel like a terrible dog guardian. It took a few weeks to unpack those feelings and realize that loving Emma at a level that I didn't know was possible didn't mean that my love for Nira had actually decreased. I was the one making it feel like a contest, not her. Besides, throughout the years together, Nira had already started feeling more like my best friend than my baby, so her role didn't need to change. That leads to another comment that I found helpful. Treat Nira as a friend, as another female friend who is still your friend, but also understands that you're a mother now. Would a good friend be upset with you for having a baby and not having as much time to focus on them? Just make sure to give Nira love and include her in your daily activities as much as you can. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I hope it helps. That comment made me reflect on my human friendships and how they had changed since I had a baby. None of my female friends expected much of me while I was in my whirlwind newborn phase. Instead, they were helping out and they let me rely on them. If Nira was truly my best friend, then she would understand that having less time and attention to give her in this season of life did not mean that I cared less about her. I coupled this thought with another suggestion that I'd gotten. Talk to Nira. Explain what is going on and how you feel. The guilt is real and is only for a season. You are doing a great job. As crazy as it sounds, I sat down and I told Nira how much I was struggling, that I loved her so much, but I simply didn't have as much to give her right now. Dogs obviously don't understand English, but they do sense our feelings. That conversation made me feel vastly better and allowed me to focus on small shifts like this commenter suggested. I currently have a 3.5-month-old baby and 3 dogs that are the center of my world. I do sometimes get the mom guilt of the dogs not getting the amount of attention they are used to. What helps me is that I try to take a few minutes a day here and there to focus on them. A lot of the time it's quick training sessions, playing or petting, nose work games, walks if I can. I found that these few minutes of connection help reduce the guilt, and I think the dogs adjust pretty well. They're often just happy to be home with us and don't always need the constant attention that we think they need. It was a nice reminder to focus on what I could still offer. I pre-prepared a bunch of frozen enrichment treats and I gave Nira one each morning while I tended to Emma. I bought a larger couch so that the whole family, including Nira, could fit on it. I invited Nira to cuddle with me more while I held Emma during naps. When guests would come over to meet Emma, I would pet Nira while they held Emma, or I'd ask them to pet Nira if I was the one holding Emma. I started taking Nira on some solo walks for one-on-one time on weekends when my husband was home to watch Emma. It's important to remember that small efforts do add up. Another important reminder about time that I received is: one thing that helped me when I was feeling tons of dog mom guilt about how little attention I could give Marley during the day was to remember that prior to the baby, I wasn't home during the day. I worked full time, so Marley was home alone Monday to Friday. While I was on maternity leave, I was actually spending more time with my dog, even if she wasn't always the focus of that time. That mindset shift really helped me, and I hope it helps you too. And one last one that I think is worth sharing. Yes, the guilt is so real, and unfortunately, I found that it doesn't go away. It ebbs and flows with different seasons of family life. I'm going to give you some good just waits. Just wait until your dog notices that something they do makes your baby laugh, so they keep doing it until the whole house is laughing. Just wait until your toddler wants to help fill your dog's dinner bowl. Just wait until your dog chooses to sit beside your preschooler instead of you for movie time. It was a nice reminder that Nira hadn't been replaced. Instead, I'd actually created a new future friend for her. If you are struggling with guilt about your dog, I really hope this video provided some actionable tips, and it also just reassures you that you're not alone. Everything in life is a season, and I can assure you that those feelings of guilt do get better. Try to be gentle on yourself and make sure that you're taking care of yourself too. I want to thank all of the women that took the time to share their stories and their tips with me. It really helped. If you can relate to the struggles that I mentioned in this video, I would really appreciate if you mentioned that in the comments. I think it's collectively really helpful to realize that we're not alone. If you have more tips for overcoming guilt that I didn't mention, please drop those in the comments as well. If you want to watch another video of mine about overcoming life difficulties, watch this video next. If you want more dog and baby tips, I'll also link my entire playlist for that here.